The new term is about to begin. Let's head to platform 9 3/4 and go back to Hogwarts. I'm Professorvoqas, and this is Harry Potter Wizards Unite.
Hello, Professor. I didn't see you there.
Before we begin, I do want to thank Silverclaw24 once again for putting these images up on Discord. I do appreciate it. It does make it easier to explain things so that people can both hear what I'm saying and then also have this great infographics that you make so they can kind of visually see what I'm talking about. So I appreciate it, Silverclaw24. Thank you for doing this for the community. This event will run from August 30th to September 3rd, which is this coming week, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Pacific to 11 a.m. Pacific, at least Monday through Friday in the Pacific time zone. For this event, there are a ton of increased foundables from Tonic for Trace Detection, as well as just wild spawns on the map. And instead of going over all of them in a list right now, as we get to their tasks, I'm going to kind of talk about them and the fact that they'll be increased. But one thing I do want to mention about the event that's kind of ongoing, that doesn't have anything to do with the tasks themselves, is that if you run Forest Chamber 4 or higher, no matter what kind of runestone you use, you are guaranteed to get a family foundable from the runestone that you used. In addition, there's bonus wizarding experience, bonus challenge experience, and spell energy from completing fortresses. So that's just kind of ongoing during this event. Getting into the tasks themselves, the first set of tasks here, you are first needing to put master notes into 4 potions. Reminder, that's not brewing. You're actually going to have to wait for the event to begin and then put the potion in, or have it already brewing but not finished with no master notes in, and you're actually going to have to enter master notes then. So this will just be something, again, try to use extimulos or healing potions, whatever you have a short duration, so that it's just a little quicker that you can finish the potion and put master notes for the next one in. My recommendation, at least something I do, is I don't even start the next potion brewing, because sometimes if I forget, it ends up finishing brewing and I never enter the master notes. So I put one potion in, so when it finishes, the next one doesn't start, and I just need to remember to go into the game, but at least I'm not wasting ingredients on potions that I forget to put the master notes in, if you're like me. I'm going to hop down to the third and fourth task, because we're going to come back to the second. 15 great spell casts, obviously just play the game, try to get some good casts in, you'll complete that, and then earn 7,000 wizarding experience while you're doing those 15 great spell casts. In addition to the second task here, you'll probably get that wizarding experience. If you really want to speed it up, throw Barufios on. So the second task says free Hedwig and retrieve 12 Hogwarts letters, which is less involved than you think. It essentially just means return Hedwig, because it's literally just talking about, as you can see here, just returning the Legends of Hogwarts Hedwig. When you return Hedwig, you have a chance to get the Hogwarts letters. I'm not sure if it's 100% yet. It's much like the mysterious note fragments we have to get during Brilliant events sometimes. So when you get Hedwig, you'll get these Hogwarts letters, and it'll just kind of keep a tally. It's not an item you keep. It's just once you get 12, you meet this task, and then Hedwig's not going to give you any more after that. And especially once you move on to the next set of tasks, that's not going to happen. So it really just means when you find Hedwig foundables, just to return them, you're going to get pieces of these Hogwarts letters. I shouldn't say pieces, you're going to get Hogwarts letters. And once you get 12 of them, you will complete this task. Moving on to the second set of tasks, the first thing you need to do is defeat 10 formidable foes in wizarding challenges. So again, go into, I would say, Ruins 4 to Tower 4, anywhere in there. I mean, it's possible to get it from lower and higher, but those are pretty consistently will have formidable foes. Not guaranteed, though. I've definitely done some where I got none. And if you're looking at your foes in the wizarding fortresses, whenever you see them in that fortress, and you can choose, what you want to fight, they always have 5 stars. It's going to be the 2-starred foes, essentially. So you're just looking for them, and you're just going to run fortresses until you've defeated 10 of them. Now, in the graphic here, it says to collect 4 platform 9 3/4 signs from port keys. And that was what initially was, and all the infographics came out, but they've changed it since then because they decided, with it only being a 5-day event, making people walk that many port keys, 4 port keys. Even though they're event port keys, it might be too much, as well as the current situation. So it is nice that they took some feedback, because people did mention that they felt like walking that many port keys for a shorter event, it's not the full week, that kind of thing, that they changed it to 1. So you just need to get 1 port key walked. As you can see here, it is a special event port key. It's 1 kilometer. So during this event, you have 5 days to essentially walk 1 kilometer, which for some of you, that almost means you could just stay in your house and the GPS drift will get it. If you're able to get outside your house, even just walking around your house, I guess a little bit would get that. Or if you're able to walk in your neighborhood, you probably can get that 1 kilometer done pretty quickly. And hopefully it isn't too much trouble for you. Collect 8 Hogwarts Express tickets from Earthlings and Pixie Oddity Foundables. And again, much like the Hedwig one we did before, Earthlings and Pixies will have increased rates from tonic for trace detection and just in the wild in general, and you'll get that express ticket for the Hogwarts Express. They'll drop from them. It's not something you'll keep or anything like that. It's simply just for this task, so you just need to keep defeating them until you get the required 8 tickets, and then you'll be able to pass that task. Next up is something a little different. They complete 4 forest chambers. It can be any number, so forest 1 through 5. If you're wondering where that is, especially if you're a newer player, the fortresses themselves, they start with ruins chambers. It's the first 5 are ruins chambers, and then the next 5 are tower chambers. The next 5 after that are forest chambers, followed by dark chambers are the last ones. So this is just requiring you to run 4 forest chambers. If you haven't even unlocked up to there, you're going to need to run fortresses and keep beating your highest level until at least forest 1 is unlocked, and then run that a bunch of times. If you have already unlocked all the way to Dark 5, which I know a lot of my viewers have, I of course would recommend do Forest 4 because it's going to be the least energy, it's going to be the quickest, the easiest out of what we can do, and you're guaranteed a family fragment from whatever runestone you use. So look in your registry, figure out what you need, and then just go after that and just run fortresses there. Get at least probably a couple people in. I find that as long as I have 3 people, especially 1 of each role, a magizoologist, a professor, and an auror, that knocking out that chamber goes pretty quickly. Moving on to the third set of tasks, collect 7 Hogwarts Express engine fragments from Dementor encounters. Now when I first saw this, I'm like, oh, Dementors, they're going to add Dementors as a thing we can specifically fight in this game, and then I realized it says Dementor encounters. And when you look at what foundables we're talking about, which are right here, it's these 4. These 4 are just normal foundable encounters where the Dementor is attacking the person, and then we end up doing Expecto Patronum to free them, and that is how we're going to get the Hogwarts Express engine fragments. So we just need to return 7 of these guys. Well, I say 7. We, again, don't know if it's 100% drop rate for this. I'm assuming it'll be pretty high, so it shouldn't be too many. But you need to get 7 of these. And again, it's not something you collect. You just do this. All these guys are going to have increased spawn rates. Tonic for trace detection should produce more of these as well. So just any of these 4, it doesn't have to be any specific one, any of these 4, which is Quidditch Captain, Harry Potter, Sirius Black, Nymphadora Tonks, and Ministry Newt Scamander. Those specific ones have Dementors. Essentially, if you see a foundable and a Dementor is attacking them and you have to do Expecto Patronum, you know, the circular spell, to get rid of it, you have a shot at getting one of these fragments, and you just need to get 7 of them. Collect 13 chocolate frog boxes from the Weasley twins. Once again, we have some increased foundables, and the chocolate frog boxes are just a thing that we're going to get that we don't get to keep, that will just meet this task. Now, if you look closely here, notice it is Fred and George Weasley with their sweaters on. It's not from the Wonders of the Wizarding World. This is from, I believe, Legends of Hogwarts pages. So it is specifically those 2 Weasleys, and it doesn't mention the other ones. There should be increased spawns of these 2 guys, so when you're returning them, you have a chance to get that chocolate frog box, and you just need to get enough of them to finish the task. It will be interesting to see, even though it says these 2, if when you get the other ones, it gives us chocolate frog boxes, but based on the infographic here, obviously doesn't look like that is the case. Then you need to cast 20 great Expecto Patronum spells, which, thank you, Warner Brothers, Portkey Games, Niantic, mainly Warner Brothers Games. Thank you for putting this in the same one as the Dementor one, because we're going to be casting it. So in other words, while we're doing those Dementors from the first task here, the first of the third set of tasks, we'll be casting Expecto Patronum anyway, so it's kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone, instead of having this here and then asking us in the next set to now go back in and do a bunch more Dementors and have to do Expecto Patronum. So again, we have to get 7 of the engine fragments, and we need to cast 20 Expecto Patronum spells, so even if those aren't dropping every single time, we're going to at least need to go cast that 20 times. Notice it says cast it 20 times, so even if you didn't defeat the Dementor, if you cast and it resists, and you cast and it resists, and you cast and it resists, much like the ridiculous spell from the last event here, it's going to count toward that. So really, it might only take you 4 foundables to get all 20 of these casts if the thing keeps resisting you. And that's a strategy people use, is don't use any potions on it. You almost want to do just a bare minimum great cast so that it does resist, hopefully does not depart, but stays, so it gives you another chance to cast it and another chance so you can kind of rack up those spells. Anyway, get 20 of them, you complete this. And then lastly, it's to complete 2 dark chambers. As I described before, the dark chambers are just those last 5. So again, do the lowest one you can, usually just because it's going to save you energy, especially considering you have a 100% chance of getting a fragment, even if you're in a dark 1, which would normally be the reason you go to a dark 5, is you want that 100% chance. Well, you get it in dark 1 to get the foundable anyway, so you might as well do it down there, and I would imagine a lot of people will be doing that. And lastly, we have the 4th set of tasks. There are no bonus tasks with this, so this will be it. The first thing you need to do is free the Quill of Acceptance and the Book of Admittance 8 times. And then as you can see, for the next 4 tasks, it's free Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, Gryffindor, and Slytherin 6 times. Free students from that house 6 times. All of those foundables will also have increased spawn rates and from tonic rotation detection and in the wild, so we're going to have a lot of increased spawn rates. I mean, really, with all of these being increased, I'm hoping we see less of other stuff, and it's mainly just seeing all this stuff all the time. So as we get to those tasks, we can complete them. So for this last set of tasks, mainly you're going to be out just hitting traces. You're just going to be hitting traces, which all the Hufflepuff students are all Hogwarts. And then Wonders of the Wizarding World is the Quill of Acceptance and Book of Minutes, I believe. So you just be looking for that, which if there was any step you really want to throw a tonic for trace detection on, this is probably it. Although I would argue the other ones probably you really want to as well. It's going to help you go through a lot quicker. And then the last thing you need to do is win in your highest unlocked chamber, which for most people is Dark 5. But if you are newer to the game or just don't understand, just go into your fortress and whatever the highest level it lets you do, whether it's you're still on the ruins, you've moved to the tower, you're up on forest, just go to your highest level chamber and make sure you win that. Actually, in Discord last event, or it might have been the event before, it might have been on Reddit, that I saw people actually asking, hey, I did the chamber, and I finished it, meaning they went through the process, but they ended up losing the chamber, and you do need to win. And it does specifically use the word win here, but a lot of people, I think, took that as complete, and I think it might have even worded it in a previous event just recently. But people were a little confused, thinking all they had to do is go in and give it a try. You do have to win in it, so make sure you get a group together, use potions if you need to, and make sure you're actually winning it and defeating it within that time limit. Now, you may have noticed for this event, even though it's only 5 days, you actually end up getting 8 restricted section books and 10 Defense Against the Dark Arts books. So it's actually a bigger chunk than I feel like we normally get for stuff like this. So if you don't normally do events and you need these books, this is a good event to maybe put some time in. There's no weekend days, which is unfortunate because I know it makes it harder for certain people to play that do play more on the weekends. And I know people that weekends are bad for them and they're like, no, weekdays, it's good. So I guess for this event, it'll be great for you. For me, it's kind of neither here nor there. I can try to find a day one way or the other to play, and then other days I'm busier, but for this week I'll just be trying to at least get probably 2 days in to complete all this, because that is a good healthy chunk of that, as well as the spell books, the red spell books as well, which I still need for my combat adversary tree, so I can always use more of those. Defense Against the Dark Arts books is probably the big one, and getting a chunk of 10 in a short period of time is going to be nice. I am excited about this event because for the most part it's all about just returning traces, really just playing the game as it normally would be played. Not too much in the way of fortresses, although we do have to go in and do some, but it's more just going in and doing these, which means it should only take me that number of times, 4 times Forest Chamber, just go in and do them, as opposed to waiting for something to drop that's not dropping for me, no RNG involved, I can just go do it. Beyond that, it's going around and just playing the game, which I love to do. Definitely going to use a number of tonic for trace detections for this because we're trying to get all those foundables. As always, thank you guys for watching this video, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Nox.